Hey, I'm Laura Davis, a time management strategist, and I work with high achieving professional working moms just like you to ditch the hot mess and level up your work life balance using a proven time management framework. In today's episode, we are talking all about back to school, and I'm sharing something really exciting for you that I created, which is your ultimate guide for back to school logistics as a working mom. I'm so excited to tell you more about it. So let's get into this episode. I want to start with I feel like there's a lot of mixed emotions during this time of year with back to school. There's a mix of excitement, but then also a little bit of dread, right? It's not a little bit of stress is in there too, but the dread comes from all of the things that you know you're about to have to do during back to school time. And you're kind of mourning the end of summer, but then there's also excitement because if you're a working mom and your kids are going back to school, you get a little bit more structure in your day. You get a little bit more time to yourself to work on your business or work on your job without being interrupted 500 times for snacks. So there's the excitement side of things, but then there's also kind of that dread side of things. For me, the excitement comes from it's football season, it is pumpkin spice season. And I actually, this might be controversial, but I'm not a pumpkin spice lover. Like, I actually don't really like the flavor of it, but I like what pumpkin spice represents. It represents fall, Gilmore Girl vibes, watching Hocus Pocus or Halloween Town 24/7. If that is you, if you are a millennial working mom like myself, let me know because those are my favorite things about this time of year. And I'm just super excited. But then on the flip side of that, the dread side comes with the stress of having to juggle all things logistics. So you're talking about doctor's appointments, practices for sports and extracurriculars, school supply shopping, back to school clothes shopping, lunch packing every single day, transportation logistics. And then there's also the big emotions that come with school. So this year, Harper starts kindergarten, and that is a very emotional time, not only for her, because that is a big transition, but also for me and Zach. That is just really emotional knowing that she's growing up and going into kindergarten. And I'm excited for her, but it's also kind of sad that my baby is old enough to go to school now. And then there's also the everyday demands of your career. So you have your job or your business or both that you're also having to manage all day, every day, while worrying about getting your kids set up for success with back to school time. And I actually remember a very specific story from several years ago. My stepdaughter was in kindergarten, started kindergarten 11 years ago, which I do not feel old enough to say that right now, but she started kindergarten 11 years ago. And I just remember that first year feeling completely unprepared. I thought that I was preparing myself. I thought that I was ahead of the curve with back to school. And then it like slapped me in the face. And I realized that I just felt like I was falling short. And a few years into her being in school, it was either second or third grade. I remember there was a moment where I just kind of like broke down on the kitchen floor and was crying. And I was like, I don't understand why all of these other moms can handle and make it look graceful going back to school and just having all of that stuff organized. I didn't understand why I couldn't do that too. And so fast forward a couple of years from that is when I started my journey into studying the science behind time management and how to manage my time as a working mom. And so if you've heard any of my story, you can kind of see where that fits into the timeline. And once I started digging into the science, I started applying that same thing to the back to school season. And I realized that I had created a process / framework for how to approach back to school time so that you don't forget anything, so that it is all handled and you don't have to worry about feeling stressed or worried about forgetting something. And I didn't really realize at the time that I was creating something like this until I started to talk to other moms about my process very recently. And I've had a lot of women asking me questions about how to handle certain aspects of back to school and how to remember just all of the things that we have to do to get our kids set up for success. And that's when I started to realize that this was a process that every woman needs to get their hands on. Every single working mom needs to get their hands on this framework for back to school logistics so that you don't ever feel that stress or that guilt or that shame of not being able to handle it. So that's why I formally created the Managing Back to School Logistics Guide for Working Moms. I did not try to make a fancy title for this. I wanted it to be straightforward. So there is no like fancy marketing title in here. It is the title is exactly what it is. It is literally a comprehensive guide for you on all things back to school and school year logistic related that will help you as a working mom. And I will say that, this guide, this framework needs to be in front of as many working moms as possible because so many are struggling in silence. So just like how I was crying on the kitchen floor by myself all those years ago, I think now that was like 8 or 9 years ago, maybe, yeah, 8 or 9 years ago, I was alone. And I thought that I was the only one. I thought that I was the problem. And you are not the problem. I was not the problem. It's that we didn't have this framework, this official process that walks you through exactly how to handle things. And so I wanted to make sure that I created this. And I will say that this is not just, another PDF guide of tips. This is an actual roadmap to your sanity during this time of year. And so here's everything that is in this guide. It is a list of logistical things that many working moms forget during back to school time. And I created this list so that you can have the weight of trying to remember every single detail taken off of your shoulders. It is also a plan on how to approach the school year in advance so that nothing falls through the cracks and you're not feeling mom guilt for forgetting something important. It also has the types of back to school tasks that are going to make your life easier and less stressful. And then I even give you a way to handle those tasks in a very specific, methodical manner so that none of them get left behind. You literally will not forget anything this school year if you follow this framework. And then one thing that I did a little bit differently than how I would normally approach a guide like this is I also created a video that goes along with the PDF guide. So the guide is a PDF, but there's also a video. So this way, for all of my ADHD girlies out there, there are a couple of different ways that you can learn and consume the information. You have it on audio, you have it visually, and you also have it where you can read and print out and take notes. And you can actually make the check marks or you can cross through the words. Whatever methodology works best for you on consuming information, I have set it up to where it covers all of those bases. And that is a big request that I've gotten a lot of recently. And so this guide is really all about reclaiming your time and your energy so that you can be the best version of yourself, both at home and at work. Because when you apply this framework and you follow what this guide teaches you, you're going to succeed not only at back to school, but you're also going to start to see how you can apply it for your job, for your home life, all of those things. And it's really a robust guide. Normally, something like this, I would only build and include in Time Management Academy Club, but I am making it available to everyone. If you're already in the club, this will be free for you, but I have made this separate from the club because I truly believe that working moms need a dedicated resource for this time of year. And so I will include the link in the show notes. Make sure that you grab this guide. It's only $7, like super easy, very no-brainer cost for you to grab this guide and hang on to it, print it out. You can use it the entire school year. So right now, as we're going into back to school, and then you can also use it the entire school year because it encompasses everything that you'll need to remember. I hope that this was helpful. I'm so excited for you to get your hands on this guide. And if you do get it, send me a message. Let me know how you like it. Let me know how you are working through the checklist and just, I would love to hear from you. So I will see you next week.